Francafrique refers to the intricate and historically complex relationship between France and its former African colonies, characterized by political, economic, and military ties that have often been criticized for their neocolonial undertones. The term is a blend of France and Afrique, highlighting the deep entanglement between the two regions. Emerging in the post-colonial era, Francafrique has been shaped by a combination of strategic interests, economic considerations, and diplomatic maneuvering. France maintained close relationships with its former colonies in Africa, utilizing economic aid, military support, and political alliances to secure its influence in the region. This has led to a perception of France as an overbearing presence, exerting undue control over the domestic affairs of African nations. Economically, Francafrique involves intricate financial mechanisms such as the CFA franc currency, which was historically pegged to the French franc and later to the euro. While designed to provide stability, the arrangement has been criticized for limiting the monetary sovereignty of African countries and favoring French interests. Additionally, French companies have often held dominant positions in key sectors like energy, mining, and infrastructure, contributing to the perception of neocolonial economic exploitation. Politically, Francafrique has seen France intervening in the internal affairs of its African allies to prop up friendly leaders or topple those deemed contrary to French interests. This influence has sometimes stymied democratic processes and contributed to political instability. The close military ties between France and certain African nations have led to joint military operations, but have also raised concerns about the suppression of dissent and human rights abuses. Critics argue that Francafrique perpetuates a system of dependency, where African nations are reliant on French support and unable to fully exercise their sovereignty. This has led to allegations of corruption, lack of accountability, and unequal partnerships. In recent years, voices from both Africa and France have called for a reevaluation of this relationship, advocating for greater autonomy and mutual respect. Efforts to redefine Francafrique have included discussions about reconfiguring economic partnerships, renegotiating military agreements, and promoting more equitable trade relationships. African nations have sought to diversify their international alliances, engaging with other global powers like China and the United States to reduce their dependence on France. In conclusion, Francafrique encapsulates the complex web of political, economic, and military ties between France and its former African colonies. While rooted in historical connections, this relationship has drawn criticism for perpetuating neocolonial dynamics and limiting the autonomy of African nations. Calls for reform reflect a growing desire to redefine the relationship based on equality, mutual benefit, and respect for sovereignty. The trajectory of Francafrique will continue to evolve as both Africa and France navigate their shared history while adapting to the changing geopolitical landscape.